All right, here's some babies we got from these Amazon tree boas. What a gorgeous look. They're so beautiful and they're little.
What are you doing here?
Look at that guy. Now these you've actually produced yourself, correct?
Yeah.
And for people who might not know, boas obviously give birth to live babies. So you saw all these little squiggly worms coming out of your, your females here. And what are we looking at here?
Okay, so here we have a low expression tiger that's orange. I don't know how well it's going to show up in the video since we're, the lighting is what it is. And this guy here, I'm trying to get you a better shot of his back, because this would be, your nicer tiger.
Yeah, that's really, really beautiful. Do they go through an ontogenetic color change too?
They're going to stay whatever their base color is, but they do go through an ontogenetic color change where they'll develop more black, more powdering, and things like that.
Right.
Stripes can get darker, things like that, but the base color usually typically stays. It's not going to change.
I like the light one actually.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So I produced 11 of these from that female over there.
Do you sell these or you keep them?
I'm going to raise them up. I'm going to keep at least one orange, and then I'm going to keep this one because he was the nicest of the clutch. And I don't know that it's a male. I'm just referencing this one.
And you got to just wait till these guys get a little older to really sex them, right?
They could be sex at this point, but...
Would you pop them like a normal snake? Or?
No, I won't, just because just the risk of damaging anything
Sure.
at that size, it's just not worth it. And I really like to get a lot of meals in those before I sell them or let them go. So,
very cool.
Definitely, we'll grow these out, get some size on them before I make any of them available. And I'm gonna hold back, like I said, a couple. I'm gonna hold this red, and I'm gonna hold this orange.
Yeah, the orange one's really nice.
Yeah.
All right, now we're gonna switch phase to the a little bit of venomous stuff. Now this is a GABOON VIPER. Really nice looking. Now you know why people love venomous so much, because they're so interesting looking.
Yeah, this snake just come in recently. It's a wild caught import. It's from Eastern Congo, more over towards the Ugandan border. The West African species typically only have one line under the eyes. You can identify gabonica from rhinoceros because of those lines under the eyes. West Africans only have one line. The snake actually is going to look better once it sheds.
Is this a baby?
This snake is probably getting close to a year and a half, maybe 2 years, being that it's from the wild. Just depending on how frequently it's eating and things like that.
Beautiful.
I have some smaller ones which I'll show. And the reason I started with this snake is because this is like the ball python of the venomous world.
Sure.
These
are the most popular?
Very common, imported by the thousands every year. Very beautiful snakes, very easy to take care of if you know what you're doing. And they grow quite large. Very toxic snake, but typically somewhat placid.
They're not like strikers.
They're unpredictable. You never want to trust any venomous snake. You never want to ever take that chance.
Right.
But like for starter snakes, for people that feel have some bit of experience, I'd be like, this would be a good starter snake sometimes, just depending on the individual.
Sure.
A lot of times I'll tell people start with Amazon tree boas if you want to work with arboreals, because they're so aggressive, and they hook and they wrap the hooks, and they're so difficult to get in and out of cages sometimes just because they don't ever want to let go of the hook, and they're always striking, always biting.
Right. It's
like a great snake to like start people with that want to work with arboreal vipers.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
very nice.
Toxicity wise though, not a great beginner snake.
Right, you don't want to get bit by this.
No.
All right, what do we got here, Paul?
All right, so here we have an East African RHINO viper, Bitis nasicornis. This snake also just came in just a few days ago. Still has, its wild caught shed on it. Definitely is going to look much, much better after it sheds out. It's going to have a lot of blue. These saddles here will be blue. This will all be blue around here. And this will all be red.
You got the crazy horns in the head too. Look at that.
Yeah, obviously that's where the name comes from.
Yep. That's the appeal. I'm sure people like that, right?
Yeah, and this is probably one of your most popular venomous snakes out there as well. People just love these. This guy's obviously not very happy, but the East Africans tend to be much nicer than the West Africans, but they do exist all the way across
These are all wild caught, obviously.
These are. Yeah, and these,
they don't farm races, do they?
well, what they're doing now is when they're collecting the trappers, they'll hold the gravid animals and then wait till they'll drop.
Gotcha.
Before they would just ship everything, and we used to get a lot of these would come in with gravid, was super nice.
Oh, yeah.
So you would get a lot of babies in the shipments at certain times of the year. And that's not happening as much, you know. The internet has opened the whole world up, you know. Those guys, the internet's everywhere now, so they have the ability to see what stuff sells for here now. So over the years, prices keep inflating.
It's interesting they're going up rather than down.
Yeah. Well, this snake here, especially East Africans, is getting a lot harder to find, and the really, really beautiful ones that have high blue or high red are getting, you know, very scarce.
Sure.
And also, you know, since the 90s, a lot of areas of certain countries are not exporting, or other countries are not exporting anymore. So we're limited to what we can get and what areas things come from.
What do we got here now, Paul?
All right, this is actually one of my personal snakes. This is Trimeresurus purpureomaculatus. This is a black phase.
And what's the common name of this thing?
They call it MAGROVE PIT VIPER.
And of course it's got to be black, so we know you love black
Yeah.
snakes. That is really cool.
So,
how dangerous is this snake in terms of, you know?
I don't have a lot of information on the bite. I mean, I imagine it's not going to be a pretty one.
Yeah.
I've seen similar snakes in the same complex that have really mild venoms in comparison, but my personal opinion with this snake, I don't believe that it really is indicative of all the traits of a Trimeresurus. One of my favorite snakes, what I like about this, they're very variable. From different areas where they come from, they spread as far as Southeast Asia over into Malaysia, Indonesia, those areas, you know. And different color variations throughout different areas. There's even some of these that are reddish color. The typical ones are green, some have like some red spotting, things like that. That is a full-grown snake. It's a proven female. It has produced babies for me in the past.
Oh, cool.
I'm getting ready to pair it up now, move it to...
And they're relatively small, too.
Yeah. It's not a huge snake. The care form is extremely simple. Gonna move this snake to a larger enclosure and pair it up with a male, literally here just in a few days. So hopefully we get some more babies out of her again.
Lay eggs or live bearers?
Live bearers.
Cool.
Yeah, and
how hard is it when these venomous have these live bearing babies that are all over the place? I mean, how do you corral those things up?
Just with the hook, you know, and separate them out. I usually 6 quarts, you know, obviously for small snakes.
They're dangerous at that when they're first born,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you see how white her mouth is. It's pure white. But what I liked about these snakes, this one in particular, it has the black eyes. And it doesn't have any white anywhere. A lot of these will have a white line here.
Gotcha. This is more solid.
And some of them will have red eyes.
Interesting. Red eyes too, huh?
Yeah. So they're very variable depending on where they're from. This was thought to be a melanistic animal in the past, but they found out it's just a locale.
That's cool.
And these snakes are pissy. I've never seen one calm down.
No, you're not free handling this guy.
No. Well, there's a lot of guys that do, but I'm not.
So what do we got here now? As soon as they came in, these caught my eye, and I have no idea what they are.
Okay, these are another tree viper, the Atheris nichii.
How venomous are these guys?
The Atheris complex in general seems to have a pretty toxic venom. I don't know much information about these.
It's funny because you see these, they look like something like, oh, if you saw that in the forest, you'd pick them up, right?
Right, absolutely.
They don't look venomous to me.
You would think a snake this small wouldn't be able to, you know, pack that much of a punch, but it's not the case.
It doesn't even look venomous though. It doesn't have like a big, jaw or anything like that.
Right. It looks like the big venom glands. It's just,
it looks like it could be
a
like
lanky-bodied snake.
Yeah.
You know?
Like it looks like a green corn snake. You know?
But this guy's he's really in a great mood today.
Yeah.
But
so what's the history of these guys?
History of these, more of a montane species, higher altitude. A little bit difficult to establish in captivity. Not many people have bred these with any frequency. So kind of a more of an advanced species. I just wanted to bring another one here to kind of illustrate the variability. You know, this one has the dots, this one has like a zigzag line.
It's pretty cool. And this is that just polygenic, or is that, do you think some kind of morph?
No, it's not. It's just they vary. Some of them are solid greens, you know, with barely any spots. I've had some that even come in with a blue tint. Like
is it locality, you think, wise, or is it?
No, they're all collected from the same area.
Such a pretty snake. What does something like this go for if people want to buy these from you?
These usually run about $750 a pair. Females are extremely hard to get.
So they're not crazy expensive. Like
They're not. The reason being is because they're such a difficult species to keep.
Right.
So people don't want to invest a bunch of money into it when they don't really feel that they're going to be able to reproduce them. You know, it's such a risky species.
And because it's venomous, I guess you wouldn't really want to have them in a huge type of display cage because it'd be too hard to, you know.
Yeah, they don't need a lot of space. You know, a small planted vivarium or terrarium is great for them. Most of my friends that have these can keep them. They keep them a little bit on the cooler side, planted vivariums or terrariums, and with fogging systems, but none of them are breeding them yet.
And what do you feed them?
These guys pretty regularly take pinkies, but in the wild, generally I'm sure they're eating the majority of frogs and maybe some geckos.
Yeah, so they must be hard to establish it when they're babies, I'm sure.
And they're tiny when they're babies too.
Yeah.
Very, very tiny baby.
And you're not assist feeding these guys, that's for sure.
Yeah, you have to with a lot of venomous species. It seems like they're actually more stubborn than a lot of species. One thing with the Atheris though and the tree vipers, what makes them a little bit easier sometimes is they are such aggressive animals and continually striking. So you can like take a small piece of food and just like they strike it so hard sometimes it'll lodge and gets stuck in their mouth, and then you don't have to go as far as assist feeding.
Very cool.
The squams are like probably the easiest snake in the world. We're gonna look at those next.
All right, Paul, what's we got here? These look like they were almost the same as what we just saw, but they're not.
Very similar in the same family of snakes. They're both Atheris, but these are Squamagira.
Which means what?
I don't know what Squamagira is.
Just a different species?
It's a different species. I don't know what the Latin refers to, but let's see here. I pulled these two out because they're a little less common to get these grays and blacks.
I was going to say, they look more gray and black than the other ones, which were much greener.
Right. This snake actually, there's been quite a few bites recorded with them, and they have a really nasty, toxic venom.
Are they like deadly, or is it just like painful?
They can be. There are fatalities recorded, but with our medicine here in the States, they're not that dangerous. And I know people that's gotten bites and they rode them out with nothing.
Right.
But there's no specific antivenom for them, so sometimes they'll use like the saw scale viper, the Echis antivenom for them, and it does tend to help.
Super cool.
Yeah, so these are some.
Well, you got some very interesting species, and I guess if people are looking for venomous stuff and they have their license, you're the guy to contact. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You have interns doing work for you guys?
I do. Right now I only have one guy. Typically I try to keep two guys working, and right now we just have the one guy, Justin. He's actually driving all the way down here from Lake City, which is like nearly 3 hours. So he's pretty dedicated to getting his permit. And he's been super dependable. That's the guy I was saying about, like, it's been a fish and stuff.
Yeah, that's always convenient when you have someone who can actually show up for work.
Yeah. So I want to show you one last thing with the Squamagira, because they're so variable. This tree viper comes in just about every color imaginable. So just want to pull out like two extremes. We saw the black and the gray.
And once again, these are all sold, right?
Pretty much, everything that's in there is going to be packed.
Paul brings the shipment, and if I don't get over to his house like the day he gets the shipment, the next day everything's gone. So I had to run over here today, and luckily you live around the corner from me.
Yeah, unfortunately I moved things out here pretty quickly, and
you don't really want to have a whole, I guess, garage full of venomous.
Well, see, this room is, I just pack here. The venomous room is in the back.
Gotcha.
We'll get to that on part 2, I guess. And
yeah.
some of my personal collection.
Oh, look at that.
So
people don't understand. This is not your personal collection. This is just what you're bringing in. And
these are just things I'm reselling.
Oh my God! Look at the dough. This is beautiful. This one. What's that?
Yeah, these are all the same species. That's how variable the colors are.
It's just that variable. Wow.
So that makes these, probably the most popular tree viper, anywhere.
What's the common name for these guys?
It's variable bush viper, or African bush viper. I really hope the colors come out.
They are.
Film, but here, like you can see, the thing almost glows.
That one is the best.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to have that as a pet?
Right.
So
And they're great because you don't get super big, very easy to take care of, and they breed easily if taken care of properly.
Amazing. And how old would they breed at?
Oh, these guys typically breed about 3. The males will breed at very small sizes. This continuity.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, that's all right.
That's an adult female green with some yellow baby.
Oh, that's it. They get that's all. They don't get big
They
at all.
they will get larger, but they grow much slower once they hit certain sizes.
Wow. Look at the two comb. I mean, that's not much bigger than what we were looking at.
One thing I've noticed about this though, they have gotten smaller in recent years. In the areas they collect from, it seems like these animals are smaller. When these started coming in from the Congo, like say 4 years ago, I was getting much larger females. Then I was getting animals that were small like this, and they would be rabid.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I was kind of blown away. These snakes are like, you wouldn't even think it'd be old enough to breed.
Maybe they're just not eating that much over there. That's all. Maybe they got the years on them. They're not the size.
It could be locality things. It could be a number of things. It could be pressure on the species is forcing it. Just,
Well, Paul, thanks for inviting us into your little world here, and we're going to do part 2. I want to see your private collection because I know there's got to be some insane stuff in there.
Yeah, it's pretty small these days, but I do have some really nice stuff. We'll showcase my Alvarezi, my black beetles, which are my passion and my most prized possessions and favorite animals on the planet.
Well, I can't wait to see
in the reptile world, anyway.
I can't wait to see my favorite in the whole collection because I don't like because I'm too scared to have venomous because I'm accident prone. Right here, Bell's phase, lace monitors. Oh, look at those guys. Or what's this?
All right, so this is a beaded lizard, a Mexican beaded lizard, but
That's big.
this is the male to this one is much larger, but they're bred for this reduced coloration to almost be black.
Yeah, this is really black looking.
So this female is proven, and she actually, let me try to get her in a comfortable position. She's hungry. Is a pretty good size. This animal produced a near solid black animal 3 years ago.
Very cool.
The male, the mate to her is enormous. He dwarfs her. We'll pull all of these out in the next recording.
Yeah, absolutely. Just give people a little tease. This is what's coming next time, guys. So stay tuned. And one final extra tease.
This is one of my 3-year-old Alvarezi.
He's solid.
Yeah.
Solid black.
Solid black. Some people argue that the true Alvarezi have this rusty color on the belly, which this one has.
Really cool.
She doesn't want to hold still for me, but she won't be ready to breed for quite a while. But I do have some adults in here we'll showcase next time.
You have an awful lot of these. I've seen some, no one has this many of them.
I believe I have probably the largest collection there is out there.
Oh, really?
Angeli, I think, has, I don't know how many he has total, but I believe I have more. I have 12.
You're gonna get a lizard. Isn't it great that this is a U.S. lizard? I think it's crazy that we have so few really cool reptiles in this country. Where
These are actually Mexican. The Gila monsters are.
these are not.
North American.
These are not the North American ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are Mexican beaded lizards.
Now, is that typical? Usually they have some speckling on them, right?
Yeah. So you have 2 species. You have the third. You have Alvarezi, which is people still argue about. But you have exasperatum and then you have hortum. So we'll show all 3 of them next time. We'll show all the different types and some localities.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys are, so stay tuned for next part.